Hello, today we are going to look at factorizing quadratics. And quadratics, or these are actually quadratic trinomials, tri means three, so we have three terms and the highest power on one of our letters is squared, and that's a quadratic, sometimes called a quadratic trinomial, because again, there's usually three terms. What we're going to do is look at how to factorize these, and I'm going to write step by step how it is we approach it. Then we'll do another example, and then we'll look at where these rules might be coming from, and then look at some more challenging examples. So in the combination of them, we'll get to see the method a bunch of times, and we might also be able to pick apart where this method is coming from. So as we're going through our first two examples, think about the fact that factorizing is the reverse of multiply. What we're going to end up with is this being broken up into two brackets multiplied by each other. Now we know how to multiply out brackets. So as we're going through these steps, see if you can piece together where these steps are coming from as a reverse multiply. And if we can do that, it will help us an awful lot with our understanding. So let's dive into it. The first step that we're going to have, we're taking example one here. The first step we're going to have is we are going to take the coefficient of the x squared, the number in front of the x squared, and the constant on the end. And by that you can see the very first step we need is to make sure that we have x squared and then x and then the constant or the number. It must be in that order for us to be able to follow these steps nicely. So our first job would always be make sure we have x squared, x, and then number. And the next thing we would do is take the number in front of the x squared and the constant on the end and multiply them together. So in this case we have 2 multiplied by 12. And be careful, all the signs of these matter. So if this was minus 12, we'd be multiplying 2 by minus 12. We get 24. So I'm going to write down those first two steps for you. What we want to do now is take our 24 and we are going to write down all of the factor pairs of plus 24. So how would we get 24 as a number? Well, we've already seen one example. We could multiply 2 by 12. But how we're going to do it is we are going to start at 1 by 24 and then 2 by 12. These are all the factor pairs, all the numbers that multiply together to give 24. So does 3 multiply by something to give 24? Well, it multiplies by 8. 4 multiplies by 6. 5 doesn't work, and then the next number that would work is 6, but we already have 6 by 4, so we don't need to go any further for that. Or we could have, we know that a minus multiplied by a minus would give a plus, so we could have ended up with minus 1 and minus 24, or minus 2 and minus 12, same numbers but different signs. And we should take these into account. If we end up with difficult numbers, and we will later on, we need to be careful to be able to see which ones of these we need. Now, what am I going to do with these next? Well, now I have my list of my factor pairs that multiply together to give 24. I'm going to look for which ones of them add to plus 11. So the criteria I'm working with is, the rule I'm working with is, multiply my coefficient of x squared and my constant on the end, and I get a number. I write down all the factor pairs, all the numbers that would multiply together to give 24. And then I see what one of those pairs will add together to give the number in front of x, the coefficient of x, the middle term. And in this case, I can see that that is going to be plus 3 and plus 8. 3 plus 8 will give 11, and 3 by 8 will give 24. So it meets both criteria. So again, and the sign matters. So I wouldn't be picking minus 3 and minus 8 because they would add together to give minus 11. So that is the pair that I want. So I'm going to write down that line now. Now that we have that done, what we're going to do is break up this plus 11x into plus 3x plus 8x. So 11x is the same as 3x plus 8x. because if we add 3x and 8x, we get 11x. So we break this up. So our quadratic becomes x squared plus 3x plus 8x plus 12. This 3x plus 8x is our 11x. If we add those together, we get back to where we started. But now what we've got is 4 terms that have common factors to them. The first 2 and the second 2 have common factors. So we're going to now try and factorize these like we would with our 4 terms that we were factorizing, where we factorized the first 2 and the second 2. Now we know how to do this part. We're just taking what's common to the first 2 and what's common to the second 2. So what's common to the first 2 is just x. 2x plus 3. What's common to the second 2 is 4. So we get 2x plus 3. And we can see that we now have a bracket that is common to both. So we're just back to factorizing our 4 terms. And we get common factor first, multiplied by x plus 4. And if we multiply back out this bracket, if you look at the steps that we've done, this would multiply out to here, would multiply out to here, and the 2 terms in the middle would add back up to 11x. So we can see that this is a way of getting the reverse of multiplication. Now let's play this through again. So I have x squared minus 7x minus 18. What's my first step? Well, I want to multiply the number in front of x squared, the coefficient of x squared, by minus 18. What do I need to do then? I need to recognize that x squared means 1x squared. So I take 1 by minus 18. The sign matters. This is a minus 18. So I just end up with minus 18. Simple multiply. Now I need to write down all the factor pairs of minus 18. So I could have minus 1 by 18, minus 2 by 9, minus 3 by 6. 4 doesn't work, 5 doesn't work, 6 has already been used. Or I could have 1 by minus 18, or 2 by minus 9, or 3 by minus 6. And those are all the ones I can think of. So what ones work out? And what do we mean by work out? Well, we know that we want to break this up. We want to break up this minus 7x into something. So we need to see what one of these pairs adds up to minus 7x. Minus 7x, and I can see here that is going to be plus 2 minus 9. So this pair of numbers must multiply together to give minus 18 and add together to give the coefficient of x. And this is a minus 7, so it would have to be minus 9 plus 2. So now I break that up. X squared plus 2x minus 9x minus 18. And now I just have 4 terms, and I take the common factor of the first 2 and the common factor of the second 2. So now we're down here. So I take out common factor of x on x plus 2 minus 9 on x plus 2, because minus 9 divided into minus 9x would give me plus 1x. Minus 9 into minus 18, minus divided by minus gives me plus. 9 divided into 18 gives me 2. Then I have my bracket is common. So I end up with x plus 2 on x minus 9. And if we multiplied that back out, you can see each step would be the reverse of our multiply. Now let's actually play this out in full. So if I multiply out this bracket, first term in the first bracket by the second bracket, second term in the first bracket by the whole of the second bracket, 5x minus 2 plus 3 on 5x minus 2. 5x squared minus 2x plus 15x minus 6. I have like terms here, so I end up with 5x squared plus 13x minus 6. Now if I'd started here, how would I factorize to get to here? This was multiplying out. Factorizing is the reverse. How am I going to do it? I take my first term and multiply by my second term. Sorry, by my constant on the end, I should say. And I get minus 30. What are my factor pairs for minus 30? Well, I have minus 1 by 30. I'm going to write them out for you. Now I look for which pair is going to give me what I want. So I have minus 2 and plus 15 adds up to 13 and multiplies to minus 30. So break up that plus 13 into minus 2x plus 15x. Minus 6. Take out your common factor. So first two terms, second two terms. And I'll write that out for you. And when we do our factorization of our four terms, we see we get back to the start. This x plus 3 multiplied by 5x minus 2. Now what issue do we have here? Well, the x squared isn't the first term. So the very first thing we need to do, step 1, make sure we're going in the right order. And then we're going to continue on as we did before. 4 by, in this case, plus 5 is going to give 20. So let's write out our different steps. Now when I have written out my different options, which one adds to minus 12? Again, the sign matters. So which one adds to minus 12? Well, it's going to be minus 2 and minus 10. So I break this up. And now I'm going to take the common factor from the first two terms and the second two terms. While this is complicated, we can see that we're doing exactly the same thing each time. And when we're factorizing now, let's see our highest common factor here is going to be 2x. We end up with 2x. Minus 2x divided by 2x is going to leave me with minus 1. And then I want to take out my factor, but I can see, if I'm being careful, that there's the signs are the wrong way around here. So I need to take out a minus 2 instead of a plus 2 to end up with positive 2x. Sorry. Apologies. I need to take out a minus 5. And I end up with then plus 2x minus 1. Minus 5 into plus 5 would be plus divided by minus is minus 5 divided by 5 is 1. And then I end up with my 2x minus 1 by 2x minus 5. And then finally we need to look here. What's the first type of factorization? We must always look for common factor. So common factor comes first. In this case, we're in the correct order, x squared, x, and then constant, but we have a common factor of 2. So we take that out and then continue as normal. 3x squared minus 2x minus 1. Then we're going to multiply our first term and our constant together, our coefficient of x squared and our constant together, and continue on as normal. Now, which one of my two options in this case is going to give me my minus 2, my coefficient of x? Well, plus 1 and minus 3 will add together to give minus 2. So that's the pair I want. I'm going to break this up into plus 1x minus 3x. And in my factorizing, I can see my only common factor here is minus 1. And I take out the minus 1 because I want to end up with 3x plus 1 in here. 3x